You're live.
Thank you, Stan. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the August 19th, 2024 regularly scheduled Hartford School Building Committee meeting minute. It is 12:02. Call this meeting to order. Item number 1 on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Little, please.
Good afternoon. Mr. Paul Drummond.
Present.
We were notified by by Councilman Clark he wouldn't be able to attend. Ms. Sherry Davis-Googe.
Present.
Also notified by Mr. Algary that he wouldn't be able to attend. Mr. Edison Silva.
Present.
Mr. Clarence Corbin.
Present.
Ms. Shantae Browdy.
Present.
All right, with 4 voting members present, we do have a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tony. Thank you. All right, everyone. Item number 2 is the acceptance of the minutes for the July 15th, 2024 regularly scheduled meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Corbin, seconded by Mr. Silva. Silva, any discussion?
Seem to be missing.
Eddie, you want to mute yourself, please? All right, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Chief Davis-Googe.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
And Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
4 yeses, the motion carries. All right, everyone. Item number 3 on the agenda is public participation. I will read a little note here. Due to the use of remote meeting format due to COVID protocols, public participation will be supported throughout the duration of the meeting by using the comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to myself at paul.drummy@harvard.gov prior to or during the meeting. At this time, I ask Mr. Little if there's any, or Mr. McCauley rather, if there's any online questions.
There are no questions or comments at this time.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate you. Item number 4 on the agenda, everybody, is administrative. There are no administrative items today, so we'll move on to item number 5, which is current projects under construction, Arcadis O&G CNR program management. 5A, action items. Jack Lucas, please take it away.
Good afternoon. First order of business today is change order number 24 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley High School project. These are change orders that have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, totaling a net value of $29,038, and we ask your endorsement.
Jack, is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Corbin, second.
Second.
Mr. Silva, discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Chief Davis-Googe.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Silva
Yes.
and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Okay, with 4 yeses, the motion carries. Jack, item number 2.
Next item before us today is change order number 26 to PDS for the Burns project. This includes work that was budgeted in the recent funding increase. You'll see some large numbers here, but these are additional scope items that were budgeted for in the scope increase. One item, the direct purchase of the dental suite equipment, is being taken out of FF&E and being purchased through a contract due to the time when we need the equipment in place for the students. The total value of these changes, which have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, is $499,528, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So move.
All right, Mr. Silva, second.
Second.
Mr. Corbin, discussion?
And Jack, the replacement of the sidewalk, was that something new?
That was something that was, as I've mentioned, budgeted for in the recent project cost increase. This is something that was existing conditions. We had originally hoped to take care of this under the project. Then we had to de-scope the project because of budget concerns, and now we're putting it back into the scope of the project.
Oh, understood.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Chief Davis-Gooch.
I'm sorry, I have
Oh,
my hand
please.
raised.
Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Browdy. Please.
The direct, not the direct purchase of the dental, Mr. Corbin addressed one of mine, the kitchen exterior site improvements. Expand on that, please.
Toya, are you present to be able to comment on that? I don't have the backup in front of me. I'm sorry, Ms. Browdy. I
No,
can.
that's, Jack, I can take it away. Being part, intimate with it, throughout we've had a time with drainage underneath the kitchen floor, Ms. Browdy, and, identifying where the source was coming from, was the first part. Finding out a solution how to evacuate the water under the slab within the kitchen out of the building, was another part which we previously approved in this committee. And now we need to get this water that's exiting the building away from the building. So this will take it out to a catch basin, away from the building.
Okay, and the recessed bench mock-up finishes.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you, Toya.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Worries.
The recessed bench mock-up was previously for additional funding. We wanted to bring back a few things that we took out for VE items. So the recessed bench is going to be we're trying to do a mock-up to see how it would look in the hallway in regards to the lockers. We have removed the lockers and now we're putting something back to make it look presentable. So we're doing a bench as well as painting, as well as flooring, new flooring with the additional funding, just to spruce it up a little bit more than it was after we VE'd some items.
Okay. So if I may, sorry, I'll go a little further, Ms. Browdy. So this mock-up, so this will have the bench that will go throughout the wing, the old clay tile, which is, I believe, tan or terracotta in color, would be glazed a nice bright white. And then the flooring and around will be in this one area of this wing. So everybody, the stakeholders can view it and say, hey, this looks good. Let's move forward with the rest of the wing, or let's make some changes. So mock-ups are extremely important on huge projects like these. So we make sure we iron out any of the kinks, so to speak, before we release the rest of the design throughout the whole wing. Is that accurate, Toya?
That is correct.
Okay, and just one other question in the column where it says eligible, yes or no? Because I know next to the sidewalks it says no. What does that mean?
So the sidewalks on Rush Street are not eligible to the grant. So this will be a burden to the city 100% come audit time. So the city will pay the $95,000. So what did we do, the city, before releasing Arcadis ONG and PDS on this, is we did some diligence on our own to see if we could do it in-house, less expensive. And when we went through and compared the cost comparisons, Ms. Browdy, it is less expensive. It is more economical, I should say, to do it through the project than it is to have a sidebar project go on while this project's going on. Union, non-union issues that we would have had to deal with, etc. And then the yes/no portion, because there's a yes/no, is that change order in part is eligible, and the part that is not within the school property is not eligible. So there's a portion of the 159, 170 that will be eligible to the grant, and then the remaining portion will not be eligible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Chief Davis-Gooch.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Mr. Silva.
Yes.
And Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
All right. 4 yeses, motion carries. When the item number 6 on the agenda is 5B is project reports by Arcadis ONG. CNR, Jack, please.
Thank you. As we look at our summary, we are still on track with project costs and schedule for both the Buckley campus and Burns projects, with completions showing second half of 2025. Next slide. We're maintaining on target with our participation levels. MBE labor at Buckley is now up to 65% from a goal of 15. We're about 32, almost 33% on Hartford resident workers against the goal of 30. And as has been the trend at Burns, we're also very strong on MBE labor, 60.7%. And again, due to our limitations with small crew sizes, we're still hovering around 25% versus the 30% goal for Hartford resident workers. Next slide. As to our overall budgets for the Buckley work, we have paid to date just short of 90 million against the 201 million encumbered to date. We have about 9 million unencumbered, which is future work for furniture and technology, as well as owner contingency. For central admin, we've paid just over 19 million against the encumbered 33.7. Again, between FF&E, technology, and contingency, we've got 1.1 million unencumbered dollars. Next slide. Lots of work happening out there at Buckley, things visible from the street as well as things that are within the building. As you see the photos, a new main entry. We enter at parking lot level on the back side of the school, and then there's this grand stair that brings us up to the main floor level. Lower photo, you can see that the retaining wall towards Weathersfield Avenue has been completed, and the foundation work is substantially moving forward with the commissary building. Overall, phase 7 is proceeding along per schedule. We're still awaiting the receipt of the main electric switchgear, which has been our critical item for many months. Exterior demolition, phase 5, there's still a little bit of work left before we can close out that last phase 5 contractor. But we're predominantly in the heart of phase 7 at this point in time. Next slide. Concerning our budget at Burns, we have paid to date just over 35 million against the 54 that's been encumbered. Our unencumbered balance is showing as of the end of July at 10.2 million. Some of those monies are for scope additions, such as those items we just approved by change order. So you'll begin to see that $10 million shrinking as we implement those things that were desired for returning the scope to the original expectations. Next slide. Work within Burns worked smoothly throughout the summer slam. We're preparing for the student return. I believe it's next week that the students will be returning to the school. We still have a number of items in progress and in more areas that will be taking over as the first part of the school year proceeds. We have received the electrical switchgear, which has been a critical item. We're awaiting some additional work by Eversource in order to make the final connection so that we can power up those areas that have been renovated and return them to the school's use. Next slide. Here you've got some images of some enhanced flooring. Originally, the flooring design was stripped down to plain vanilla everywhere for cost savings. We've been able to add some of those features back in to make the building a bit more comparable to its peers as far as end result visually. And you can see quite a list of work that is ongoing throughout the rest of the school. As noted, your critical item, we had that change order regarding the site work outside the cafeteria. Water intrusion into the building has been a very expensive and and difficult problem to solve, but we are making headway there. Next slide. As you can see, we've got a fairly heavy slate of ongoing activities. A lot of continues on this 90-day look ahead. We will be completing the structural steel installation this month. We expect that the commissary steel will be coming shortly after the concrete work is finished there. And as you see, moving into the fall, we've got athletic fields, site utilities and site features that'll be wrapping up while we still have decent weather this fall. Next slide. And again, continuing with Burns to work our way throughout the building. We have a number of areas that, as I mentioned, are in process that'll be wrapping up as we head into the fall. And with the availability of the full new power supply with the new switchgear, we'll be able to activate a number of areas that have been already upgraded. Next slide. Well, there you go. That completes our report. Thank you.
Back, just a question for Toya. Toya, are the teachers starting to come back in, and how is that going, if they are?
The teachers come back in on the 21st. WB Meyer, which was the moving company, put everything back together again in order for them to come in and set up their classroom. So that's all set. I believe pre-K is coming in tomorrow, but it's a minimum individuals that are coming in tomorrow. But the 21st is definitely when everyone is coming in. And just to let you know, the lab tech room that you saw with the picture, they are going to start the very first day with the teachers prep in that area, because they just love the area. So we're just going to put a few, chairs and tables in there so they can have their meeting and is there as well.
Nice. It is a nice space, Toya. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jack. Team.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please, Mr. Corbin.
Yeah, I have kind of a thought that we should continue. I appreciate the tour that you allowed me to have just for the other members. I had some students that was interested in engineering. We took the time to go through the Buckley campus, and they were really enlightened and impressed by what they saw. And the massive element of that project is quite interesting to see as it's continuing to go towards the completion of the project. So I think there's probably, my comment would be for other members of the building committee to take an opportunity to go take a look at one of these sites, probably during construction and perhaps even after the completed work is done. I think it was just helpful to see it.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. And yes, the invite is extended to all the members, knowing that if we have a quorum, we need to call the meeting. It does come to that amount of members at one time. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. All right, everyone.
Mr. Chair, I see Ms. Browdy's hand raised. Is that an old raised hand or is that a new question?
A new question.
Ms. Browdy, I'm sorry. I'll try to be more.
And no problem. I do have one of my most favorite little people going to be attending over there. So very exciting there. I had a question though, in regards to Buckley, and it extends like beyond like Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a community meeting, and the conversation came up around how we spend money, right? Because everybody's saying we don't have money. And it was one thing that was mentioned was like the site lighting, like the lights come from Italy and the skin came from another country. And I'm just hoping that when we're, number one, I would think, I don't know if we're able to say, if we have place, right, would be made in the USA. I don't know if that's possible or not, but if I hear or anyone in the community hears, oh, the site lighting out at Buckley, those lights came from Italy, that just does not sound like it's cost effective, or we've tried to stretch our dollars far, you know. So that is definitely a concern when we're picking materials. And then in other times we hear that projects are held up because of delay in getting product. It may not be this, but if you're hearing in one meeting that, you know, we're delayed, you know, products is a delay, it possibly delays projects, even though it might not be because of a lighting coming from Italy, but it can be assumed. But it is a concern about how we're spending the money and are we doing our due diligence in spending, you know, taxpayer dollars. So I wanted to raise that here because we'll say we're doing all of that, but in Buckley will we have an indoor track? I don't think so. Like, so for the community and even me is just being concerned, we have to make it make sense. So that is, I just wanted to raise that here in regards to the products that we're using on these very, very expensive construction projects.
Ms. Browdy, the raise, are you looking for me to perhaps reach out to the designer on the call and try to answer some of these, or was it just a general raise for awareness and then a report back?
Both.
Well, is there SLAM on the call, Jack? When it comes to material.
And
selection?
I don't want to hold up the meeting, Mr. Chair, to address it, but I do want it addressed.
Understood.
Yeah.
I do not see SLAM in the meeting today.
I think what we'll do is I'll call for some sort of fact-finding report, Ms. Browdy, and report back. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Item number 6 on the agenda is current projects under design. Collier's project leaders. 6A is an action item for Betances. 6A1 is Betances Elementary School. Item number 6A1A is Downs Construction Amendment number 1. Judy, Scott, Ray.
Yep, so I'll be presenting today. So good afternoon, everyone. So for amendment number 1, this is for Betances for the GMP number 1. This is in a total of $10,491,014.64. Just to give you a little background on this action item is we went through the process of bidding. We met with the MWBE selection committee. They reviewed the bidding awards, and this was actually previously approved, but this one includes the trade costs, contingencies, and allowances. Just to give you a little bit more background, and this is, according to us, fully eligible for the state of Connecticut, and we are seeking your approval for the amount of $10,491,014.64 for amendment number 1, GMP for Betances Learning Lab.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Corbin. Get my sheet here. Second. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Browdy. And discussion, please. Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Chief Davis-Cruz,
Yes.
Ms. Browdy,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Okay, with 4 yeses, motion carries. Everyone, items number 6A2 is E.B. Kennelly. We have 3 items here, and one is going to be a brief presentation on the Phase 2 construction documents and estimate for E.B. Kennelly School. Judy?
Yeah, just to give you guys a little bit more background on this action item. So we already went through, met with the teacher, the principals, the advisory committee. We also presented to the Board of Education, Committee of the Whole, and then we're actually seeking tomorrow for the review and approval anticipated for bidding in September. But before, we go into the action item, I would like to have Tecton Eddie to do a quick presentation for the committee through your chair.
Yes, please.
Great, thank you so much. Is it possible that I could be allowed to share my screen?
Yes, Eddie, I'm going to make you a co-host along.
Great, thank you, Jack.
You should have permissions now.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. All right, so everybody can see my screen, hopefully see my hand moving around as well. Wonderful. Thank you. So appreciate you having us here today. As Judy mentioned, we've been to a number of the other groups. In the interest of saving time, I'm not going to go through, this is the entire presentation that we presented to the Committee of the Whole about a week and a half ago. I believe everyone in this group should have had this in their packet. If not, I'm happy to go back and answer any questions on anything I kind of skate over. But today we're really going to focus on the site plan, the floor plans, and the exterior renderings of the building, as I said, in an effort to try and be time sensitive here. So again, the process is that we are meeting with the State Office of Grants Administration on Thursday, and so hoping to get signature on the request for final review of plans on the EDO 42, SCGO 42 form, so that we can have them take a look at everything. So the plans I'm going to show you, everything north is oriented to the left. The school is, I'm sure most of you know, is bounded by Cheshire, White, and Monroe Street. Currently today, there is a lot of congestion on White Street. It's parent drop-off, it's bus drop-off. There's one lane going each direction, and when the buses come, it really kind of shuts everything down. So what we're really trying to do is improve traffic flow around the site and on the site. We've created a cutout bus drop-off on Monroe Street to get the buses off of White and to actually get them out of the flow of traffic. You can see a ramp and set of stairs that bring you up. There's a bit of a grade change to a new vestibule that will go through a door that kids are already using today. It's basically the gym is to the left and then the class is to the right. Sorry, first of all, I should have said, yeah, the gray indicates the footprint of the existing building. This is an addition included in this project, which you see highlighted in the blue that basically connects the two north ends of the building. What we've done here along Cheshire Street is currently that parking lot is a few feet, 3, 4, 5 feet lower than the street. We are filling that in so that instead of having a one-way in and out off of White Street, you now would enter from Cheshire Street, getting rid of the retaining wall that used to be there and then creating a parent drop-off to come with an exit only onto White. Again, trying to minimize how many intersections are happening on that street. This would be visitor parking as well as parking for some staff members and a new dedicated main entrance here for visitors, and that ties into the floor plans, which I'll show you in a second. Main parking lot for staff is here on the north, basically a relocation of the existing curb cut. And then currently right now the play area is in this. So right now that parking lot has a dead end on the north side. We're relocating a main playground area here at the southwest corner and then a couple of smaller ones near the classrooms, but allowing this to now be a fully functioning loop again, where you can kind of go in and out without having dead end condition. So really not dramatically changing the number of parking spaces, but making them much more usable than they are today. And then coming around here, this is where deliveries are. Coming back to the kitchen, you'll see that on the plan. And then the final piece that's been nice about this design is we're creating an interior courtyard so students can have some nice access to the cafeteria, come out after recess, or for teachers to go to kind of use it as a non-traditional learning space. Take you quickly into the exterior elevations or the renderings of it. So this is the view from Cheshire Street. Really, predominantly the main masses here and here are existing. This is the new reconfigured main entrance. You can see this is that drop-off I was speaking about before, with parents being able to come in this way. You do see the end of the addition here. You can see we've really tried to make the appearance of the building sensitive to the new construction, sensitive to the existing. The use of brick, kind of some nice historic colors for the metal components that are being put in to work with what's there. A little bit more of a modern expression, but materials that really feel very much in place and historically sensitive with the existing building. This is kind of swinging around. This is down to Monroe Street. So you see here the new vestibule that connects to the bus drop-off. Again, you see the other end of the addition. We are expanding the gym, and I'll show you that on the floor plan. But this is the new entrance on the north side of the building, facing the parking lot, the main parking lot. And this is kind of swinging around and seeing that end of the building a little clearer. So what you're seeing here is the two-story volume of the gym with a fitness area in front of it. You're seeing the cafeteria, the media center above it, and basically entrance for off-hours activities, as well as students who are coming for programs before and after school. Okay, so the building itself is 3 stories. There's a pretty significant topography change from the bottom to the top. So at grade is really on this side on the first floor, and it's on this side on the second floor. So this is the end of the gymnasium. As I said, basically what's going on today is there's a tiered permanent bleachers that are here that basically kind of come out to this line, and then the building ends about here. So you can see the existing gym is really only about this big and not large enough for middle school students to be able to have, you know, proper 7th and 8th grade team competitions. So we're expanding the gym with the addition, and we're redoing the bleachers, some retractable ones to be able to get a true middle school size court. We've created a fitness area right now that's under the bleachers, so it's not accessible. We've got that over here. The changing rooms. You can see the cafeteria gets nice lighting and windows on the north and east sides. New kitchen. We have utility rooms here. And really this is the main function of this floor is to have classrooms for the younger students. So you see the kindergarten, first, pre-K, an iGoal classroom that's basically staying in its current location because that's a nice little spot for the smaller buses that pick up and drop off those students to be able to use this doorway here. So this is that vestibule coming from the bus drop-off. And then you see art and music for the younger students. We also have an auxiliary gym because this is nearly 700 students. So this is a multi-purpose gross motor area. You can see right near where the younger students are. We think those are going to be the students that are going to be using that space the most. We set up the middle school on the east side of the building with 6th grade on this floor, 7th and 8th on the floors above. This section of the building is the one portion that is 3 stories. So coming up to the 2nd floor, you see the remainder of the elementary school kids on the west wing, 2nd through 5th. You see a 2nd art and music room for the older students. Media center, as I mentioned, in the new addition, overlooking the parking lot with, again, a lot of natural light. And you see the 7th grade classrooms. As you come in that reconfigured entrance off of the Cheshire lot, you have the main office directly here with a secure man trap. And then we have the health suite directly across. So really don't have to go through, travel far throughout the building to get a student who might be sick. Special education and faculty spaces, you can see, are really kind of sprinkled throughout both of those 2 floors. And then when we get up to the 3rd floor, it's the main function is the restoration of the existing auditorium and then the 8th grade classrooms with new toilet facilities as well here, and providing direct roof access from this third story portion of the addition. So that's kind of very quick in a nutshell. I do have some blow-ups and vignettes of some of the other areas of the building, but happy to turn it over to any questions that might be out there.
Any questions for Tech Time? Thank you, Eddie. Nice work. Now back to Judy.
Thank you.
Judy and her motion.
Yep. So, on behalf of Colliers, we would like to recommend for approval for DAS Office of Grants and Administration approval, release for bidding. We would like you guys to authorize the construction manager Downs to proceed with bidding of phase 2 building and site construction.
And in addition, Judy, what else do we have?
Oh, in addition, the Hartford School Building Committee will also authorize the project manager present a recommendation for award to the bid review committee for review and approval. As such, decision shall be reported to the entire Hartford School Building Committee for reward. And it authorizes the finance director to issue a purchase order in the full stated amount as recommended by the bid review committee.
Thank you, Judy. Appreciate you.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a motion?
Motion, moved.
Ms. Browdy?
Oh,
Second?
that was Sherry, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Chief Davis Gooch. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Silva?
Mhm.
So, thank you. Discussion.
Yeah, I had a question. I did see the presentation a week and a half ago, and it was great. It was well received, and we were impressed with the way the needs of the school were being met, both teachers and administrators and folks from the community. But is there one more presentation to the board still awaiting for final approval?
That's tomorrow, Mr. Silva,
Correct.
to the full Board of Education tomorrow night.
I will say that, through you, Chairman,
Please, Chief.
I will say that the full board, was at the committee of whole meeting and that this action is on the consent agenda for tomorrow's meeting.
Thank you, Chief Davis Gooch. Mr.
Point
Silva,
of order, Mr. Chair.
yes, please.
For record-keeping purposes, the approval of, the 042 and the approval of the contracts should be separate motions.
Yeah, agreed. All right. A motion to amend the motion. So this is
moved.
for, thank you, Mr. Silva, keeping the SCG separate from the finance part of this. Jack, help me out here.
So we have 3 items for Kennelly. There should be 3 independent votes. The first being the approval of the 042 to be able to submit to the state.
All right, let's start there. A motion to approve the SCG for approval for phase number 2 to be approved at the state.
So moved.
Thank you, Chief Davis Gooch. Second,
Second.
Mr. Silva, keeping it the same. Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. Moving on to roll call. Chief Davis Gooch.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
Okay, with 4 yeses, motion is approved. And now
The motion, Paul, would be to approve the Phase 1 GMP for the Kennelly project in the total of $6,964,455 and 51 cents.
Thank you, Scott. So that's the next action item. So that's Kennelly B, 2B. So we just went through the SCG. Eddie presented. We're moving forward to the Board of Education and then to the state. Now we are on Downs' amendment number 1. Is that accurate, Scott?
Correct.
Okay. Judy, amendment number 1 for Downs Construction
Sure.
Company.
So for amendment number 1 is similar to Batances. This was presented to the NWBE selection committee. Letters of award was already presented in previous meetings. And this is for the GMP that includes trade costs, contingencies, and allowances in the total amount of $6,964,455.51. We are seeking your approval that affirms amendment number 1 for Downs construction to include all costs related to Phase 1 of the construction.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
Second.
Chief Davis Googe, thank you. Discussion. I guess for consistency, my question would be, are we asking at this point for finance to increase? Jack, historic.
Yes.
Yes, ordinarily, the recommendation includes permission to go to finance and have them issue either purchase orders or purchase order increases.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, in this case, Paul, it's a purchase order increase.
Yes, and it's also included on the next page.
One more time, Jude. All right, there we go.
That statement, yep.
All right, so this is the ending portion of what we just motioned on.
Correct.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Paul Drummy, Chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee. Why don't is there a motion to change the motion for Kennelly Construction Management Amendment number 1 for Downs?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Corbin. Do a quick roll call here and then we'll get back to business. Chief Davis Googe.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Rowdy.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Silva
Yes.
and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
All right, so Judy, we're on Kennelly Downs Amendment number 1.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
So why don't we do this one more time? Go back to the last page, please. Whoever's doing this, okay? And the recommendation is what?
The recommendations for the approval of amendment number 1 for GMP in the amount of $6,964,455.51.
Furthermore, what, Judy?
Sorry about that. Furthermore, and it also agrees to authorize the chairman or chairperson of the HSBC to execute the amendment of number 1 to the contract with the Downs Construction Company. The above services for the total amount of the $6,964,455.51. We authorize the Hartford School Building Committee for the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to the Downs Construction Company as shown in amendment number 1.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Silva, and seconded by Chief Davis Googe. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Chief Davis Googe.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Silva.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Corbin, with 4 yeses, motion carries. And then we are on to item number 2. 2C, Judy, Downs Construction Change Order number 1.
Yes, so this action item is for the utilization of 2 waste storage bins that will be to help contain for the containment of soils, and it also includes the testing of the contained soils during this phase of work. This amount of work will be in the total cost of $62,462.29, and we are requesting the Hartford School Building Committee to affirm the change order as approved by the change order committee and to execute this change order in the amount listed above. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorized the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction as shown above.
Judy, I believe you said 462. It's 426, just for clarification.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. And just for further clarification, this was brought before the change order committee, reviewed and approved. Is there a motion?
So move.
Mr. Silva, second.
Second.
Ms. Browdy, thank you. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, so this is a change order to Downs contract?
Yes.
It's an expansion of their contract to handle the soils matter. Is that the best way to handle it?
Yes. Right now, the way the logistics work for the temporary classrooms, Mr. Corbin, is we're gonna make these bins and store the disturbed soils on site until we can move them off site.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Chief Davis-Googe?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
All right, with that, 4 yeses, motion carries. And next on the list, everyone, is A3, Wish Elementary School. We have one item here for new field construction, change order number 1. Judy, take it away.
Yep, so this is for the Freddie Wish project. We have a tree removal request based on, the tree is not really healthy at this point, based on arborist recommendation. You also have for rework of the fiber optics IT loop that is currently going through the Freddie Wish building. So that's for the relocation of that. And the last item is for the added fire watch allowance for during the demo and abatement process. And this total will be $144,845.35. And we are seeking the approval through the Hartford School Building Committee. From the change order committee has reviewed this change order and they are in agreement, and authorize the chairman of the Hartford School Building Committee to execute change order number 1 to new field construction in the amount of $144,845.35. Furthermore, the Hartford School Building Committee authorizes the Director of Finance to adjust the purchase order to Downs Construction as shown above.
Thank you, Judy. Nice work. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Corbin, second.
Second.
Chief Davis-Googe, discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
The fire watch allowance through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Fire watch. Those numbers are based on what it is believed the time that it's going to take to do the demolition and the abatement. Is that an estimate or is that a fixed cost?
It's a great question, Mr. Silva. So it's an allowance. So it is in sense an estimate to get us to the end of when the building is completely demolished.
That is correct.
Any further questions, discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call. Chief Davis-Googe?
Yes.
Ms. Browdy?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Corbin?
Yes.
4 yeses, motion carries. All right, item number 7 on the agenda is I'm sorry, 6B, apologies everyone, is project reports. Judy, take it away.
Sure, next slide. So for Betances, paid to date, we're at 2,240,700. We are on budget. We see a little slip in our schedule based on the temporary classrooms not being delivered at this point. We'll be working with the construction team on how we can get back on schedule. We are currently at 99% of the design phase. We're finalizing the construction phasing at this point. If you actually go on site now, you will see that the construction trailer has been delivered and power has been installed as well. And they're preparing for underground utility work for the temporary classrooms. And the action item as we just presented has been approved. And that was one of the action items for today. Any questions? All right, next slide. All right, contracted to date is 27% total for the city participation as well as NWBE. We will update you more next month with more actual numbers as it relates to workers on site. Next slide. So for the 90-day look ahead, we are going to be finalizing the phasing plans. Just to give you all an update, we have our OAC meetings on Tuesdays every week. Next month, we are going to be requesting meetings with the advisory committee. We're going to be doing a presentation of an update to the NRZ, as well as meeting with the authorities having jurisdiction for their review and approval of the CD documents. We also were hoping to do the foundations for the temporary classrooms, so that will be an ongoing process as we go through the process of reviews and approvals for the temporary classrooms. Next month, we'll be seeking approval, just like we did today, for the 042 to go to the state for review and approval. And in October, we'll be preparing for the temporary classes for their delivery, hopefully in the October to November time frame. Any questions? All right, next slide. So for E.B. Kennelly, paid to date, we had $2,319,100. We also see a slippage in the schedule due to the temporary classrooms not being on site. Like I said before, for Betances, we're looking to recover that time, and we'll be in discussions with our team. We're at 99% completion for E.B. Kennelly. We just met with authorities having jurisdiction, plan on meeting with the Board of Education for their approval and meeting with OGA on Thursday. If you go by the site for Kennelly, you will see that there is the removal of the playscape and the preparing for the underground utilities for the feed. Action items today we already discussed, which was phase 1 GMP, phase 2 documents approval, as well as the change order. Any questions?
Yeah, just Judy, if we can just clarify slippage. Last month during the report, it read May 2027. This month it reads June 2027. Still in good shape to turn it over on the fall.
Well, that date has not been finalized based on the slippage. It was an error in the May. It should have been June to June.
Should have been June to June, okay.
Correct. Any other questions? All right, so E.B. Kennelly, just like Betances, will give you a more up-to-date percentage, but contracted out is 42%. That includes the city requirements as well as the NWBE contractors. Next slide. So E.B. Kennelly, like I said, we're meeting with the authorities having jurisdiction we already met with. We're meeting with OGA on Thursday. We're planning on cutting in the temporary parking lot and the construction trailer are items to be coming. Also in September, we'll be meeting with the NRZ just to give them an update of our progress. And we'll be looking to install the retaining walls at that point. And in the month of October, we'll be removing the subsurface utilities as well as preparing for the temporary classes arrival. Any questions? All right, next slide. All right, so for Freddie Wish, we're on budget and on schedule. We just finished our reconciliation, our initial reconciliation Friday for DD pricing. Initial budget reconciliation, we'll finalize that and get back to you guys on that number. We are currently in abatement and interior demo is underway, as you can see in the pictures. Those are some pictures of the exterior underneath containment. And as we said today, our action item was the approval of a change order, and that was approved today. Any comments or questions? Next slide. All right, so for Freddie Wish, we have a lot of activity on site. Currently, we are at a shortfall of 23.28%. We're waiting on some documentation from the Hartford residency, but we are exceeding for the NWBE participation at 81.5%. All right, the last thing, 90-day look ahead. So we have our weekly meetings on Thursdays for the OAC. We are in the process of doing abatement interior demo, and we are seeking approval to proceed to CD phase for next month's building committee meeting. And we'll be also looking to update the NRZ of our progress on site. And we are going to be progressing with tentative design meetings as well. Any questions or comments? I think that's it.
All right, thank you,
Thank you,
Judy.
everyone.
All right, appreciate you. All right, everyone, item number 7 on the agenda is projects and startup, Arcadis O&G Nutmeg. 7B is project reports. Jack?
Yes, just a quick verbal report, no slideshow for these projects. We have issued contracts to all 3 of the selected architects. Work has begun as far as existing conditions evaluations on all 3 sites. Existing documentation has been pulled together for their use. We have the request for proposals to construction managers on the street with a question period that ended at noon today, and proposals are due at noon on this coming Friday. Interviews for the construction managers are set for next week for Thursday afternoon, or for Thursday morning through early afternoon. And we anticipate having a recommendation for award to construction managers on the agenda for the September HSBC meeting. That concludes our report.
All right. Thank you, Jack. All right, item number, let's see here, 8 on the agenda, future projects and development. We'll go through the same cycle that we're going through Arcadis, the designer and the CM early next year. Any questions on those 3? All right, moving on to item number 9 on the agenda, everyone, project closeout. Weaver High School, we have an update on the fire alarm. So we do have a preliminary budget and a plan in place. And it's going to go out to peer review to make sure that the city is making sound decisions before we go out to get the work in place. So we're close, doing our diligence to make sure we're doing it right. Any questions on that?
I do, Mr. Chair, just a timeline. So we get something to say this date, something to look forward to, because we've gotten
So
just updates. Yeah.
Sure, of course, Ms. Browdy. Great question. And this is taking some time, to say the least. But we are, since we made the decision to design and get this out, things have been going as rapidly as I could hope them to go. Right now, I think it would be premature before the peer review to give that date, but my hope is I had mentioned in last month's meeting that the work most likely will be priced out second shift because we are obviously starting school in a couple of weeks. So there's the premium of off shift work. But I do feel comfortable in saying, Ms. Browdy, by the time we meet next, I'll have a really solid update on timeline and budget for this item.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Hearing none. Item number 10, other business. I have none at this time. I'll look for a hand raised real quickly here.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, one more
Yes,
question. So
please, of course.
the Weaver, that is going to be paid for by the city of Hartford?
It is going to be paid for, funded by the city of Hartford, Ms. Browdy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, number 10, other business. I don't believe anybody rose their hand, which brings us to item number 11. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Chief Davis Gouge, seconded by Mr. Silva. Discussion, hearing none. We'll go on to roll call. Chief Davis Gouge.
Yes.
Ms. Browdy.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Silva
Yes.
and Mr. Corbin.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you all. Meeting is
Okay.
adjourned.
Take care.
Bye now.